Think your mistakes at work are bad? Wait until you see the people who messed up so horribly they accidentally became filthy rich. Number 1. The radar pocket melt. Well, if you have ever left a chocolate bar in your pocket, you usually just ruin your pants. But in 1945, engineer Percy Spencer was testing military-grade radar magnetrons. He accidentally stood less than 1 meter or about 3 feet from an active radar set, which could have literally cooked him alive. Instead, the magnetron just melted a peanut cluster bar right in his pocket. Instead of panicking about the intense radiation, he thought, I can cook food with this. He grabbed some popcorn kernels and boom, the first microwave oven was born. Talk about failing upwards. Number 2. The Spiteful potato chip. Back in 1853, an angry chef named George Crumb was dealing with an incredibly annoying restaurant customer. The patron kept sending his fried potatoes back to the kitchen, complaining they were far too thick and soggy, so Crumb decided to literally ruin the meal out of pure spite. He sliced the potatoes paper thin, deep-fried them until they were rock hard, and dumped a massive pile of salt on them. He fully expected the customer to be furious. Instead, the guy absolutely loved them. And just like that, the multi-billion-dollar potato chip industry was accidentally born from pure unfiltered sarcasm. Number 3. The accidental heartbeat. In 1956, Wilson Greatbatch was trying to build a machine to record heart rhythms. While reaching into his messy toolbox, he accidentally grabbed a resistor of the wrong size and jammed it into the circuit board. Instead of recording a heartbeat, the machine started giving off a perfectly timed electrical pulse, beating just like a human heart. Most engineers would have just ripped the wrong part out and thrown it in the trash, but he realized this mistake could artificially stimulate a failing heart. His little slip-up resulted in the first implantable pacemaker, saving literally millions of lives. Number 4. The useless glue. Imagine spending millions of corporate dollars trying to invent the world's strongest adhesive, only to create a weak, pathetic glue that barely sticks to anything. That is exactly what Dr. Spencer Silver did in 1968. His company 3M considered the invention a complete and utter failure. But years later, his colleague Art Fry was frustrated because his bookmarks kept falling out of his church choir hymnal. He remembered the failed weak glue and realized it was perfect for sticking pieces of paper temporarily without tearing them. That pathetic, ruined glue became the post-it note, printing billions in profit. Number 5. The stove drop salvation. In the 1830s, natural rubber was pretty much useless. It froze solid in the winter and melted into a sticky mess in the summer. Charles Goodyear spent years and his entire life savings trying to fix it, ending up completely bankrupt and actually going to debtor's prison. One day, while frantically waving his hands around in an argument, he accidentally flung a mixture of rubber and sulfur directly onto a blistering hot stove at over 150 degrees Celsius, or roughly 300 degrees Fahrenheit. It should have melted. Instead, the heat cured the rubber, making it incredibly durable. That clumsy drop birthed vulcanized rubber. Number 6. The typist's secret paint job. Back in 1951, Bette Nesmith Graham was working as a secretary and, well, she was a terrible typist. The new electric typewriters used carbon ribbons that were literally impossible to erase. Fearing she would be completely ruined and fired for her constant typos, she remembered that artists don't erase their mistakes, they just paint right over them. She secretly mixed white tempera water paint in her kitchen blender and brought it to work in a tiny bottle to hide her errors. Soon, every secretary in the building wanted her secret mistake hider. She eventually sold her little kitchen experiment to Gillette for nearly $50 million. Number 7. The bouncing battleship spring. During World War II, naval engineer Richard James was trying to invent special tension springs weighing maybe 1 kilogram or around 2.2 pounds that could keep fragile ship equipment steady in rough seas. One day he clumsily knocked one of his prototype springs off a high shelf. Instead of just falling and crashing to the floor, the spring elegantly stepped down a stack of books onto the desk and then flipped onto the ground, standing perfectly upright. His military project was a total bust, but his wife Betty realized it would make a mesmerizing children's toy. They called it the Slinky and sold hundreds of millions of them. Number 8. The shattered flask. In 1903, French chemist Edouard Benedictus was working in his laboratory when he accidentally knocked a glass flask off his high desk. It hit the floor and completely shattered, but strangely, the pieces didn't scatter everywhere. The flask maintained its original shape. It turns out the flask had previously contained liquid plastic cellulose nitrate, which had dried and formed a thin, invisible film inside the glass. A few days later, he read about a terrible car crash, where the driver was severely injured by flying glass. He connected the dots and patented shatterproof safety glass. saving countless lives from horrible injuries. Number 9. The ruined gun sights. During World War II, Dr. Harry Coover was trying to manufacture clear plastic gun sights for the military. He experimented with a chemical compound called cyanoacrylate, but the stuff was an absolute nightmare. It was way too sticky, ruining his expensive molds and binding to literally everything it touched. He abandoned the project entirely, thinking it was a complete failure. 9 years later, while working on a totally different project, he rediscovered the annoying sticky substance. He finally realized his massive mistake was actually the strongest adhesive ever created without needing heat or pressure. Yes, he accidentally invented superglue. Number 10. The carbonated cure-all. In 1886, pharmacist John Pemberton was desperately trying to create a pain-relieving nerve tonic to cure his own severe morphine addiction. He brewed up a sweet, thick syrup made from coca leaves and cola nuts. The original plan was to mix it with regular tap water and sell it as a serious medical elixir, but his assistant accidentally mixed the syrup with carbonated water instead. They tasted the fizzy mistake and realized it was absolutely delicious. They ditched the serious medical angle and started selling it at soda fountains as a refreshing beverage, and that little mixing error became Coca-Cola. Well, the next time you make a massive, potentially career-ending mistake at work, just remember, you might be one clumsy drop away from an absolute fortune, or you might just get fired, probably the second one. If you want to see more of this, make sure to subscribe. See you in the next video. Goodbye.